Good evening, Vishwas, Deepti, good evening. Saikat, good morning. Good evening, sorry. Okay. Good evening. So, till then, others are going to join. Uh, Today, there was a election result, and after those election result, Sensex jumped more than 1,000 points, right? Sensex means sensitive index of Bombay Stock Exchange. It jumped to more than 1,000 points, right? So, my question is why? Why census has jumped for the state level election? For the state level election, why the Sensex has been jumped to such a high 1,000 points? What is the reason? What do you think? Why the Sensex has jumped to so much high? And it was not a general election; it was a state specific election. Can anybody want to answer this question before I'm going to start proper today's? Okay, fine. I will answer. I will answer. In the today's result, uh, today the result was declared for the state of UP, Uttarakhand, Punjab, okay, Punjab, Manipur, and Goa, right? And out of these five states, right, out of these five states, ruling party at national level, the ruling party is never national level is able to retain the power in most of the states where they are in contest, right? And they are ruling already, so they are able to come back. Fine. So and cherry on the top is UP, which is having the largest number of Lok Sabha seat. And general elections are just 2.5, some like years away from here. So, what sentiment is that ki if the ruling party is able to perform better in these crucial states, that means the government, the ruling government, is able to retain the power probably in the upcoming general election. This is the understanding or speculation. This is the understanding or speculation of the people who are investing their money in the stock exchange, right? So they are speculating, and they speculated that if they are able to retain the power in those states, especially in the Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, which combinedly go around 82 seats. Fine. So if they are able to get good number of seats in those two states especially, then definitely it is going to be a big impact on the general election, and maybe ruling party is able to come back in the power again. So in such kind of the case, what will happen, the agenda put forward by the ruling party, that is private based economy, means more participation and more active participation of the private sector. So definitely there will be the more scope for the expansion of the financial market under this present government. So this is why more purchasing being done by people who are involved in the trading activity. That is why, despite fall, continuous fall, and despite black clouds of war kind of the situation at international level, the market has rise in the phenomenal manner. So this is the reason. So sometimes these kind of the things impact the overall thing, right? Whereas those people who are sitting in the Japanese market or Korean market, or they are sitting in the US market, for them there is a surprise. There is a surprise in India why Indian market went for higher points, even despite there is a cloud of uncertainty at international level. But at local level, this thing happened, right? So this is why we do analysis of international situation, political situation, because all these situation impact countries' financial market in the deeper manner. Though the real impact on the economy will be seen later, but the immediate impact we can see in the financial market, whatever is happening at domestic level or international level, the first impact we can see in where? First impact we do see in the financial market. So, if something is going to be unusual, like COVID outbreak or election result, so immediate impact you can see in the financial market, followed by the first impact can be seen in the financial market, then second impact can be seen by foreign exchange market, foreign exchange market, followed by monetary and fiscal policy. So, if the impact is for a small time, then you can see the impact only in the financial market. But if it is going to sustain, that impact is going to sustain for the longer duration, then you can see the impact in all these areas where that problem or something happened, right? But these are happened in the longer duration, but you can see the immediate impact on financial market followed by the impact on the foreign exchange market. So today I am going to discuss this foreign exchange market, and when I will discuss, I will let you know how the foreign exchange market works, what are the basic features of the foreign exchange market, ingredients means what are the things are being used in the foreign exchange market. All these things we are going to discuss in today's lecture, right? So I think almost everyone is joining. Sorry sir, but I don't hold any knowledge about the Sensex. No need to worry, because I have not done the financial market yet. So when I will explain each and everything about the financial market, then you are able to understand, so no need to worry, because it was also included and in it that represents the major population. Yes, Jyoti, you are right. Vikul, Chetan, good evening. So, okay, then I hope कि most of the people who are regular in the live session, they have joined the live session. So, I'll start today's class properly. And those who are coming in the regular live session, for them, I'm going to conduct the Zoom session on Monday. On coming Monday, first I will conduct the Zoom session who are regular part of the Zoom session, and I told you on that day to drop a message. So I will send the invitation to all those live uh, means live class student, probably on Sunday or Monday. Just remind me on Sunday or Monday morning. So I will set up the session, and that session you can join and have a discussion with me, whatever you want to discuss. First, I will conduct the Zoom session for the live batch student. Then I will go alphabetical order, and I will conduct the Zoom session for our all paid student through the Google form. Fine. So this is all about Zoom session announcement. Just remind me on Sunday or Monday morning, right? So I will do that. Okay, so in the last class means we have started discussion on the topic of balance of payment, and balance of payment is comprised of current account and other is capital account. It is comprised of balance of trade and other is invisible account, whereas capital account is comprised of foreign investments and further categorized into category, that is FDI stand for foreign direct investment, FPI foreign portfolio investments, and portfolio investments can be categorized further, debt market and equity market. Fine. And I told you current account basically shows what it shows the trade and commerce by a particular country, inflow and outflow of foreign currency through trade and commerce, right? Whereas capital account shows change in ownership of assets. Change in ownership of assets, how much assets foreigners are acquiring in your country and how much assets are acquired by the Indians outside the country. For the purpose of individuals, when we discuss about the balance of payment, one thing I just want to make clear here, when we talk about the balance of payment, we always take the concept of resident rather than citizen. Citizen is more or less political notion. Political notion. Resident is more used in the terms of economy, financial market, all these things. Do use the term of resident, right? So if you want to do any transaction in especially in terms of FDI, right? So FDI will be done by residents. Means you have to come India and you have to start the production in India. So Hyundai India Private Limited is a resident Indian company. Hyundai India Private Limited is a Honda Motors Private Limited, right? Honda Motors India Private Limited. So that is a resident Indian company. So Honda is a global company who have different plants in different part of the world, right? But Honda India Private Limited is an Indian resident company. So we will call it as an Indian resident company. So for the purpose of financial market transactions, balance of payment transactions, we always focus on what? Resident. Even the act which empowers RBI, that is FEMA Act, which empowers RBI to control the most of the activities in the balance of payment market, that also emphasize or they also explain for the purpose of resident. Only few instances where the concept of citizen is used, otherwise resident concept is most of the time used. Where to send send a message in Telegram. Okay. So I was explaining about this foreign investment. Apart from the foreign investments, this list is little bit longer, and here is external assistance. Then I explained you about external commercial borrowings, right? Short term trade credit, right? Short term trade credit. You can see it here in the last page. This is what we have discussed. ECB, external assistance, short term credit, rupee debt services. I explained about masala bonds, right? How the rupee debt services work, and for this, I explained letter of credit. Right now, today we have to discuss NRA deposit, ADR, and GDR. We can mention here on this. Rupee debt services. And another one was NRI deposits. Right. So this ADR, GDR, and NRI deposits I have to discuss today. Sir, one doubt. Yesterday you told the interest rates on ECB are on high. Then why ECB? I told interest rates are high in external commercial borrowings, but I have not said this statement in this space. I said this statement in context. Means the context was कि if you will compare the interest rate with external assistance, they are high in comparison to external assistance. Right? So when we say something is high or low, that is always in the context. So I was comparing the interest rates offered under the external assistance and the interest rate offered under the commercial borrowings. Right? So commercial borrowings, if you are going to borrow from particular person or organization and you are going to say that ki, I am going to use this money for the purpose of education, right? Education, we have certain education related scheme in our country and we want to put that money in that thing. In the second scenario, you are saying that ki, whatever money we are going to borrow from you, we are going to use this money for the commercial activity so that we can increase our income. So obviously, though the person who is offering the money to you in the first instance, where you are taking the money for the noble cause like social services kind of the thing, he will offer the money on the low interest rate, right? Low interest rate or almost zero interest rate. Whereas if you are going to ask money for the purpose of what? Income generation, right? So obviously with his money you are going to generate the income. So it's obvious he is also going to give you the money for the purpose of some income generation. And that's why the interest rates are going to be a little bit higher in the ECB external commercial borrowings against the external assistance. And when you are going to say that what ki I want to generate the income, or even you are not going to say ki I want to generate the income, definitely from whom you are going to borrow the money, he is going to ask ki why you need money, right? And he will check it properly what is the exact purpose. And if he is going to found the purpose is what purpose is the income generation, then definitely he will offer you the interest rate on the higher, or maybe he will refuse. For example, if government of India is going to say to World Bank, we need money for what? We need money for the construction of refinery in India. World Bank is going to refuse and they are going to say that we are not such kind of the agency who offer such kind of the loan, right? So all the development agencies who are offering the loan for the purpose of what? Social kind of the development, they automatically refuse. And if they are going to refuse, then where you have to go? You have to go to that institution who are offering the money for the purpose of commercial activity, right? So that is why there is a market of external commercial borrowings. And see, if somebody is offering me a loan at the interest of 20%, right? If somebody is offering me the loan at the rate of 20%, but I know that I can earn 45% interest, whatever the 100 rupees I am borrowing from some person and he's offering 20% interest rate, and with that 20% interest rate 100 rupees I am going to get, and I am going to generate how much? 45%. I am going to convert this 120 rupees into 145 rupees, right? And after generating 145, I have to return 120. That means 25 is going to left with me and 5 rupees is my borrowing cost, means the money which I have to pay in terms of salary and other things. So still I am going to have the net gross profit of 20. Then I have to pay the tax of suppose 20%, 4 rupees, and then my net profit is 16. Okay, so fine, no issues. I'm ready to pay the 20% interest. So interest rates are always kind of the relative thing, right? Interest rates are never an absolute thing. It always work in the relative manner, right? What is the prevalent situation in the economy and other market? Only then they are going to be considered, right? So few things are always in the relative sense rather than in the absolute sense. Fine, this is the thing. Now, I have to explain this ADR and GDR. Basically, I'm going to explain ADR, and with the understanding of ADR, you are automatically going to understand what is GDR and IDR. Here, basically, the term is depository receipts, that is American depository receipts, right? American depository receipts, and in short, we call it as a ADR. What are these instruments and why they are being used? Suppose that there is a company, Infosys, and company ABC, my favorite means example ABC company, and there is a well established company, Infosys, right? So both companies want to expand their business in a country, suppose that USA. In USA, they want to start their business in the USA and they want to expand their business in the USA. And if you want to go to invest in the USA, definitely you need what? US dollar, right? So there are the many ways to go for the money, right? You can have a various way to go and borrow the money. You can use the external commercial borrowing instrument, right? However, Infosys is a big size company, and Infosys, rather than going for the ECBs, right, external commercial borrowing, because external commercial borrowing is going to be provided by whom? It is going to be provided by established institutions like big banks or merchant banks. They are going to provide that kind of the lending. Infosys thought that why we should not borrow the money directly from the US investors, like retail investors. How they can borrow? So Infosys decided that what we will do, they already have their subsidiary. They already have their US subsidiary. I told you that Infosys already have their business in USA, and they are doing their businesses in USA through Infosys. Just give me a second. Just give me a second, huh? Okay, so Infosys, I told you Infosys is an Indian company, but they are doing the business in USA. So they have developed their Infosys US Private Limited, right? So that is US subsidiary of Infosys. Fine. So what they can do, they can borrow the money by issuing shares in New York Stock Exchange, right? New York Stock Exchange, or by issuing debt securities in New York Stock Exchange, right? Those people who do not know that what is the process, how they can issue, don't worry, right? Those who are seeing these things first time, no need to worry. Just try to have a very basic understanding. So suppose that there is a company who want to raise the money. So how they can raise the money? They are offering some of their shareholding. For example, it's my company, I'm offering some shareholding, right? I'm offering some shareholding. Okay, you can take some shares of my company, and against that you have to pay. So this is one way to borrow the money through the share market. In the share market, I will offer my shares at a particular price. Another way is that I will say that if you will lend the money to me, for example, if you are lending money to me $100, I will return you $105 after 1 year. That means I am offering you interest rate of 5%, right? Maybe for India 5% is very small amount, but for US where the inflationary rate are very low, in that context 5% is too much. 5% is too much, right? So in that way I can borrow money from the US. And for company like Infosys, it's not a big issue because it's a big company. They already have the presence in the United States of America, and they are also registered in New York Stock Exchange. To register in a stock exchange, right? To register yourself in a stock exchange needs some basic fee you have to pay to that particular stock exchange. And if you are going to enroll in the world's biggest stock exchange, like New York Stock Exchange, so you have to pay a hefty amount to register and to be remain there, right? So for Infosys like company, it is maybe possible. So when any company of India is going to be listed in the New York Stock Exchange, itself is a big deal. You means Indian company have a big status to be the part of what, to be the part of world's one of the biggest stock exchange. So it is an issue of prestige, right? But the things which are prestigious, it is not available for everyone, right? So company like ABC is a good and promising company, and their business are rising, but they have not achieved to such a status in terms of business so that they can register themselves in New York Stock Exchange or any other stock exchange of America. But US investors who are keep tracking about the Indian economy, they know that ABC is a good company, and if they are going to have some money to start the business in USA, they are definitely going to do a good business. They know that. They know that. ABC also is very confident, but ABC is avoiding to be listed in the US market because that need huge amount of money to be registered there and go for such a marketing and such kind of a thing. So both parties are interested. Indian companies interested and US investors are interested. But kebab mein haddi means what? To be registered at particular place so that you can do the business, right? And financial market is, listen my word very carefully. It is going to help you to understand terminologies used in the financial market. Financial market is a dynamic market where the innovations is a driving force for expansion of financial market. So when financial market started almost 200 years back, it was having very few instrument, right? But situation developed and people have derived or invented new instruments, and with those instruments that market started expanding and expanding. Today derivatives, cryptocurrencies, lot of things are available in the market day by day. So similarly, this company who is interested to invest in US means they want some money from the United States investors to start a business in USA, but they are not eligible or able to be registered in the US market. So they contacted Citibank. They contacted Citibank and they requested Citibank कि through bank I want to I want to borrow the money or I want to sell my equity in the US market. So Citibank said, okay, but we will charge some commission, right? We will charge some commission. So rather than through this instrument, through bank, US investors can purchase the shares of this company or the debt instrument of this company through bank. And bank is going to issue the receipts known as depository receipts. What it means that, so the share of ABC is going to be held by whom? Not exactly investors. It is going to be held by Citibank. So Citibank is going to hold the share. Citibank is going to hold the debt security, and against that holding, it is going to issue a depository receipt to the investor. Got my point? So again, I'm explaining. So because you are not able to invest here through the market, so you have given your shares or debt securities to the Citibank USA, and Citibank USA On your behalf, they are issuing the depository receipts, which is a kind of guarantee कि you have the shares of that company or you have a debt instrument of that company. So Citibank is going to issue the depository receipts, right? Depository receipts to the investor in the simple way. I want money from you. I want money from you, but I do not have a direct contact with you, right? So what I told, because I do not have your contact details and all, so what I told to the crack grade B, Ashok ji, ki Ashok ji, you can work as a bank for me because I am not allowed to directly contact with the students, right? So what I will do, I will give the shares of my company to you, and you can issue a depository receipt which is going to assure me students that this piece of paper, which is DR, that is depository receipts, is equivalent to share of RT, means my name Rahul Tiwari. So it is equivalent to this share. So in that way, I am going to borrow money from you, right? So Ashok ji is going to share that depository receipts with you, and against that depository receipts, you have to pay to Ashok ji, and Ashok ji is going to give that money by charging his commission. So it is win-win situation for Ashok ji, that means Citibank, for me, and for you. So this depository receipts is issued in the US market. That is why ADR. That is why American Depository Receipts. If that repository receipts is going to be issued in Germany, Japan, Australia, China, for them we use the common term GDR, Global Depository Receipts. We use this term Global Depository Receipts. Now the question arises, ki, sir, why American Depository Receipts? It means American term is used in the specific context. The point is, US is one of the highest liquid market. Highest liquid market in the sense that people, when the people are going to say in India, कि I am saving, I'm doing some savings. So what you pretend from that statement? You can pretend or you can draw a conclusion from that statement. If I am saying that I'm telling you कि I am doing some savings of my income. So you can have a perception कि sir is saving some money. That means he has some bank balance, he has some FDs, investments in LICs, and maybe some investment in the share market. Whereas if somebody in United States of America, he is saying that I am having some savings. 90% of that savings are definitely put in the financial market. So what savings and investments mean in USA is most of the people are investing their money where there is a risk, but there is always a high possibility of earning a money because US is a big economy, right? So the capacity of United States of America to absorb the risk is little bit higher. So that is why the tendency of US people is very high to invest in stocks, shares, bonds, something like that. Whereas in country like India, still only few people are invested to invest their money in the stock market. And still, I remember in the 90s, if you are going to say this thing, कि I'm thinking about to put some of my money in the stock market. So the general perception in Indian society was that कि each and everybody in your family is going to take a counseling session of yours कि you should not go for investment of your money in the share market because you are definitely going to lose each and everything. Right. So Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and such kind of the big bulls of India got big name and fame in recent few years. They are in this market. They are in this market since long time. But the popularity and such kind of the uh, aura you have got in last few years only, right? And they are being presented and even portrayed by government also as a role model, right? Role model. So we always follow role models, right? Like when India won the World Cup in 1983. So cricket became popular in the country because people are idolizing their cricketers as a what? Role model. Right? नीरज चोपड़ा ने भाला फेंका और अगले दिन से चुन्नू मुन्नू जो है वो भाला लेके बाहर निकल पड़े बिकॉज दे फील देम एज अ रोल मॉडल राइट सो व्हाई द winning in Olympics is important because it is going to create a trend and role modeling in India. And Indian government is also interested that more and more people should participate in the financial market. So that is why this kind of the image and recognition is being given to Mr. Right, he recently met the prime minister also. So why such kind of the thing? You can imagine yourself in his shoes, right? And you can go for more participation in the financial market. So if you will look all over the world, you will find that US is the most liquid market. If you are able to issue the depository receipts there, you can easily convert your depository receipts in the money which you need for the investments, right? So that is why there is a separate name, American Depository Receipts, right? Similarly, there is Global Depository Receipts. If you are issuing those receipts in Germany through the Deutsche Bank, so they are what? Depository receipts, right? Similarly, you can also issue the IDR in India. What it means that any US company want to borrow from Indian market, but they do not want to register themselves in the Indian market, then maybe they can contact SBI. But SBI people said that कि भाई साहब lunch time है बाद में आना. So they contacted other banks, right? Just for fun. Don't take it seriously. If somebody is in working in SBI, don't take it seriously, right? और अगर seriously ले भी लेते हो तो कोई बात नहीं यार, इतना दिल पे नहीं लेना चाहिए. So SBI or any other bank, that US company is going to what? US company is going to contact and they will issue the depository receipts, right? They can issue the depository receipts and that is going to be known as Indian depository receipts. But SBI or any other bank have to take the permission of RBI. Ki we want to do this thing, right? The depository business we want to start. If the RBI is going to allow, and in back 20 years back, RBI has already allowed the Indian companies, if they want, means Indian banks, if they want, they can also participate in the depository receipts business, right? So IDR, ADR, and GDR. So, if any Indian company is going to issue ADR, any Indian company is going to issue ADR, that means what? That means some inflow, some foreign currencies will be inflow. Foreign currencies mean US dollar is going to inflow in India, right? Whereas if any foreign company is going to issue IDR, that means rupee will be outflow from India, right? Rupee will be outflow from India. So I hope you got the clarity about ADR, GDR, and IDR. No, 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 Shashwat, you are wrong. Credit didn't go to Harshad Mehta. Harshad Mehta was one of the reason why most of the people hesitate. Why most of the people see, you are looking from the different perspective. You have seen the documentary or the web series of Harshad Mehta while either enjoying your dinner or comfortably sitting in your house or office, or you was in the comfort zone. Then you have watched that series. Just try to understand about those people who have committed the suicide after that Bombay Stock Exchange scam. That is not going to be portrayed by this whom any web series, right? The real cause means who have suffered, the small investors, right? small investors. Many of the people have committed the suicide. And what wrong they did? Nothing. Right? So Harshad Mehta was the reason why people of India was too much hesitant to invest in the capital market. Because right now the young population who have extraordinary ability and kind of what confidence of taking a risk to make more money in the short time, right? So this is why since last few decades, means especially in the last decade, means if I'll consider from 2004 onwards, 2004 onwards, with the mutual fund and other instruments becoming popular and popular and popular, right? And more people are integrated with this financial market, and that is why people are able to enjoy the web series, right? If that web series was being telecast or made few years back, or TV series was made in few years back, then you know what is going to happen. If you have invested your money in the market and you are watching that series with your father, तो आपको वो यही बोलेंगे कि देख ले क्या हाल हुआ, अब तू सोच ले तेरा क्या होगा जो पैसे लगा के बैठा हुआ है शेयर मार्केट में. बट इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. People are enjoying the web series, right? So it is matter of time and situation. सबका टाइम आता है, ठीक है? So you have to analyze in that manner, not in that manner. Fine. So I hope this ADR, okay, people have commented, clear sir. Okay, ADR, GDR is clear. Now the one thing is left is NRI deposits, right? NRI deposits. And for your understanding, again, I went for what? I went for the various authentic sources, and with that authentic sources, cut, copy, paste. Cut, copy, paste I did, and I found this is most of the material I have copied from where the bank's website, right? So bank generally do provide the most authentic thing, right? So this is copy, paste and thing, and we can divide the NRI accounts in three type of the accounts: NRO account, NRE account, and FCNR. And out of these three accounts, FCNR is most important, especially from the exam point of view also, and even for the government of India's overall investment and everything. Just give me a second. I need to drink a water. Okay, fine. So there are three type of NRI accounts. One is non-resident ordinary account and non-resident external account, and third is foreign currency non-resident account. Right? Foreign currency non-resident account, and it is a kind of fixed deposit account. Whereas these are saving accounts, fixed deposit account both, but FCNR is most of the time it is always in what? It is always in fixed deposit form. Okay. So first of all, NRE. NRE accounts are maintained in Indian rupee. They are maintained in Indian rupee. This means that when you will deposit the money in NRE account, the foreign currency is converted to the Indian rupees, that prevailing foreign exchange rate. So suppose that you are working in United States of America and you have opened your NRE account and you have deposited some money in that account, then that money, suppose that $100 you have deposited in that account, so immediately it will be converted into what? Indian rupee. with respect to what will be the exchange rate at that point of time. Suppose that exchange rate is 78 rupees. So your $100 is immediately going to be at rupees 7800, right? It is mainly used to house your savings from income that you have earned abroad, right? So savings, not investment. Savings, if you want to put that money, savings and investment means what? If you have invested that money, then money will be moved from your account to any other account, or it is going to be what? It is going to be locked. But if it is in the form of saving, whenever you want, you can withdraw that money from that account. The principal amount as well as the interest amount are fully repatriable, transferable. Means whatever the interest you are going to earn, what is the principal amount, you can convert the entire amount, principal as well as interest amount, at any point of time, right? The interest income earned in the on the amount of NRE account is non-taxable in India. Wow. So if you have this account, right, so whatever the interest income, not principal income. Interest income is non-taxable in India, right? So that income is not going to be taxable on the interest rate, but yes, principal amount may be taxed, right? Other is non-resident ordinary account, right? Is maintained in the Indian currency. This means that when you deposit money in NRO account, foreign currency is converted into the Indian rupees prevailing the foreign exchange rate, same like NRE account. It is used to house the fund of your income that you have earned from India or from abroad. From India or from abroad. Whereas for NRE, it is basically for you have earned abroad. Right? Income like rent, dividend, pension, etc. can be sent abroad through NRO account. Then immediately after listening this statement, people start asking, ki, sir, why we want to send our money abroad and why it is being allowed? Are by if somebody has sent their kids for purpose of study to outside and they need money, then you must have some channel, na? So you must have some channel so that you can send your money to those countries, and for that purpose ordinary account is being used, right? Again, income like rent, dividend, so that's why they have clarified. Interest income earned on the amount of NRO account is liable for TDS and tax deduction at source, right? Tax deduction at source, TDS. Fine. Now, another heading is here to clarify the differences between NRE and NRO account. NRE account is a bank account opened in India. Opened in India in the name of NRI to park his foreign earnings, whereas NRO account is a bank account opened in India in the name of NRI to manage income earned by him in India. Right? So income earned in India. So many times what happen, you are working in India and for some project you was sent by your company to US. So you are drawing two salaries, one salary in the project where you are getting in the United States, and at the same time the some salary by the company is given in India also, right? So that is why for the clarification they have mentioned that ki NRE account is a bank account opened in India in the name of NRI. NRO account is a bank account opened in India in the name of NRI to manage the income earned in India. So if you are earning something in India and which you want to share with some person outside, or you are the same person, you want to get that money. Suppose that ki there is a person who is Akshay Kumar को ही ले लो यार. Right, he is a passport Canadian passport holder, right? He's a Canadian passport holder. Fine. So he's a Canadian passport holder. So all of the income he is earning here in India, right? He can deposit in his NRE account. Fine. So in that way, NRE accounts are exempted from tax. Neither the balance nor the interest accounts are taxable. Acha. here they have clarified neither the balance nor the interest amount. Means later on, Government of India has clarified even the balance is not being taxed. The interest earned on the NRO account is however taxable 30% according to the Income Tax Act 1961. So there is a popular reel on the Instagram ki Akshay Kumar is one of the highest taxpayer in India. Now you can understand why. Okay, that's good. He's paying the huge amount of tax. I'm not means without any offense, but I'm telling you the truth. Means the fact I'm telling you automatically because he's working in enormous manner and he's making good movies, right? And movies are sometimes like to inspire the generation, so that is good. But whatever earning he is earning in India, that is taxable under 30%, and very least kind of the exemptions is being given. Whereas if you are Indian and if you are earning in India, right, then your income is going to be taxed. If it is high, it is also going to be taxed with the 30%, but a lot of exemptions kind of the things are available to you, right, against the resident Indian but not citizen, right. Much inspired by special 26 up exactly, though it is going to be cycle, it is going to be explained by Akshay Kumar. But whatever he is earning in India, right, he is a Canadian passport holder, so whatever he is earning in India, that all must be go to the NRO account. Whereas whatever he is earning, whatever he is earning any income through Canada, that can go to the NRE account. I hope things are clear. Me and my back. Hello, sir. I'm pursuing my graduation in arts and planning to appear for RBI Grade B next year. Can you please name few books from which I can start the preparation for ESI and FM? Is NCRT is good? No, NCRTs are very bad. Especially though NCRTs are good in general, but economics. If you want to kill your appetite for the subject of economics, finance, and banking, just start reading the NCRT. माँ कसम एकदम क्या है appetite खत्म हो जाएगी. It is going to be finished, right? The way they have written, they have unnecessarily complicated the things. So I never suggested even the UPSC aspirant to read the NCRTs, but this is one of the common thing among the teachers. They always say go for the NCRTs, but don't go for the NCRT of economics because you are going to confuse. Number one. Number two, they are outdated, right? Whatever is happening in India and whatever they have written, that is a huge difference, right? Third thing, there you have to study economics, which is comprised of macroeconomics and microeconomics. Macro sometimes it is understandable, but in the microeconomics, when the curve graph will be there, then your entire mental balance is going to be what disturbed, because you do not have a background in that. Then entire mental balance is going to be disturbed, right? So this is one of the reason why people will be scared about the subject of economics, right? The poor way of presenting the things of subject of economics through the NCRTs. So I will never recommend. What I can recommend is that reading of the newspapers is good, and means not for the purpose of sale, right, a kind of promotion. But if you are doing these lectures, you are doing these lectures, whatever I'm doing here, if you are doing, the entire portion will be covered. Just follow the particular newspaper, it is more than sufficient, right? Yes, the way, see, even sometimes people suggest whenever you will go and seek an opinion ki what should I do, I want to start preparation for UPSC from class 6th. People are going to immediately tell you कि from class 6 to 12th, पढ़ लो, class 6 to 12th. Why? He is already coming from the arts background, right? If he is coming from the arts background, उसने वही पढ़ा NCERT, then why? It is not required. Those people who do not have any knowledge about the social sciences, because they are coming from purely technical background, and they lost any kind of basic understanding about our social system of India, then they should go and read the NCERT. Those people who have a confusion between Babar, Akbar and Humayun कि कौन किसका father था, कौन किसका बेटा था, they people can go and read the NCERT. If you have a basic idea about Indian history, art and culture, social system, political system, means आपको पता है what is the parliament, then you should read only 11th and 12th class NCERT. They are good. They are good and they are basic basis, so you can go for it, right? So this is the way how you have to proceed. So lot of misguidance, lot of kind of the Herculean approach is always there. So Herculean approach do not work in the competitive exams. You have to be what? You have to be smart enough to figure it out कि क्या नहीं पढ़ना है, what you should not read, because there is an immense amount of the source on the internet, right? So the people who are going to get selected, they know that what should not read and how effectively utilize my time schedule, right? So this is the key. Fine. Now come back to the point. I was discussing the differences between NRE and NRO account. The principal amount in NRE account and the interest amount accumulated in the opening preparation. In the other words, you can transfer these amounts. I already explained this point. An NRI can open joint NRO account with one or more NRIs or Indian citizen. However, there can be joint NRE account only with another NRI. So NRI can open, non-resident Indian can open an RO account with one or more NRI or Indian citizen. So suppose that son is in US, right? He is in US and his parents are in India. So his son, that means छोटू और पप्पू जो भी है, जो भी बच्चे का नाम है, ठीक है, गुल्लू. So Gullu is an NRI. Gullu is living in USA, right? So that Gullu can open his NRO account with his parents, right? Whereas NRE account, if Gullu want to open NRE account only with another NRI, मतलब समझे? If Gullu want to open a joint NRE account, तो Gullu must find some pinky or something like that in the US. Only then he can open this joint NRE account. Fine. So I hope this basic understanding is sufficient. Though I will share this PDF. Income originating outside the India can be deposited. I already explained these points when I have explained NRE and NRR account. Let's come to the main course. Lot of starters we have already done. Now, if you are an NRI and you wish to maintain fixed deposit account in India, you can opt for an FCNR account that allows you to save money earned overseas in the foreign currency. Most of the bank book FCNR deposits in the following currency: US dollar, pound sterling, euro, Japanese yen, Australian dollar, and Canadian dollar. Right. The striking feature is, if you are going to open this account, that money will be remain in that currency and the interest will be also paid in the same currency. Whereas in NRE NRO account, your money will be converted into the Indian currency. But here you can open this account with the foreign currency. Right. So FCNR accounts are the excellent investment option for the NRI if you wish to retain your money in the foreign currency and earn good return at the same time. Since your money will be held in the foreign denomination, you can be safe the risk of the exchange rate fluctuation. This is also ensures that you earn higher risk-free returns. Also, if you are unsure about where to save or invest your hard earned money, you can opt for FCNR account. I already explained you, then I read that statement. I already explained you what I explained you. You can save your money in the same currency in which currency you are earning, and then the interest will be paid in the same currency. But I just read the entire statement, and while reading that statement, some old memories came back in my mind, and that old memories of school days when in the class a particular paragraph you have to read, you have to stand up and you have to read. So I got that kind of what just remember recall that moment, right, when you have to stand and read. And honestly, I was not very good reader. Right, so I always feel little bit difficult. That's why I don't like to teach with this kind of already printed kind of the thing. I love to annotate, means like a typical old age kind of teacher, rather than the new generation teacher who love to uh, read the things on the various platform. Okay, just shared my views. Maybe you have different view, but just shared your my views. But tell me honestly, what do you think? In which option you are able to understand in the better manner? When teacher is reading about on the PDF, or when the teacher is explaining in that way? Give me your honest opinion. Means no kind of just uh, say yes according to me. Let me know honestly, right? Which way is more understandable, means where you are able to understand in the better manner when the teacher is reading these PDF kind of the things and using the PPTs, or doing the annotation and giving more kind of the audio visual presentation. Classroom explanation. But I tell you one thing, maybe this is not very good in the way of understanding, but if you want to go for revision and all these things, then this form is better. Then this form is better, until unless if you get proper handwritten kind of the thing. I have shared very few, but I hope that was much better rather than the bookish presentation or copy paste of the thing. I'll tell you very honestly, if you will ask me to do, anyone, means not only me, if you are going to ask anyone to do this thing, he is going to do only cut copy paste. In the very few instances, maybe he is going to do some editing on his own, right, on his own. Otherwise, rest of the thing, cut copy paste are being there in the entire this teaching fraternity. The PPTs, they are mostly copy and pasted, right? Only very few people, and they do this thing on their own. Otherwise, most of the people, already told you na ki I did this thing, I copied and pasted here because I don't find such amount of time to type on it, right? So writing on the hands, it's going to give you the more human touch, plus you are able to focus ki what is need to be read by, because you don't want to write too much. You don't want to write too much, so you are going to write only those things which is required to understand and retain the things. So that is why handwritten notes, if they are in good handwriting, they are always better than any kind of the printed notes. This is my personal view. PDF can be read and we can understand. Explaining like you with examples. Okay. Explaining when the teacher is explaining. Okay. नोट्स बनाने में फील आता है कि पढ़ाई तो हो रही है. हाँ बिल्कुल सही. I have to learn from you. Whiteboard. So I have a plan in my mind. I have a plan in my mind because uh, telling you very honestly, I use this word many times, but whenever I use this thing, I just going to tell you without filtering. Most of the time, I use these filters while I'm speaking, but when I will say it, truly speaking, I don't want to use any filter. I don't want to continue in such a way. So I'm planning to have a proper kind of the board, right? And doing the live streaming through the board, because I don't want to teach while sitting. So that is in my mind. So probably in next 1 or 2 months, I'm going to do that. I have to shift, or means some plans are being there. Otherwise I can start even in this month of March, but have few plans. Either I'm going to shift from this particular place where I'm staying right now. So that's why I'm not doing that thing. Otherwise, once it will be decided, probably by May, you are going to find me on the proper that large screen, and I'm doing to the teaching while standing, explaining each and everything. The not annotation on the computer screen, but annotation or writing like proper panel. Okay, so I'm planning for this thing. So just hope for good. So probably by May, I will complete that thing, because I feel that is the much better way of explaining the things, and that can be done in the short span of time comparison to this way of explaining. और यार वो बैठ के पढ़ने में ऐसा लगता है कि आई एम नॉट टीचिंग, आई एम जस्ट डूइंग द काइंड ऑफ प्रवचंस गिवन बाय दीज बाबाज एंड ऑल, राइट? कि बेटा हरी चटनी नहीं लाल चटनी खाया करो, उससे कृपा आएगी, सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग आई फील लाइक दैट. बट व्हेन proper whiteboard or kind of digital board, then it's much better. Yeah, I told you, na, I'm planning, so very soon I will do that thing. Just give me a minute. Just give me a second, huh? Just give me a second. I'll be back. Okay, so offline classes. So who will come to Hyderabad for offline classes? Let me know. Who's ready to come to Hyderabad to take offline classes with me? So, regarding FCNR, I have explained all those things. Nothing is more important, just you must have to know what is FCNR account and in what currency it is being maintained. Sometimes, in like IBPS exams, they can ask which of the following currency is not being used for the purpose of FCNR. So, US dollar, then Australian and Canadian dollar, pound, euro, and Japanese yen. Right. So three kind of the dollar is being used: US, Canada, and Australia, and pound sterling, euro, and Japanese yen. These are the currencies which is. मनमीत रात कहाँ रहते हो आप हैदराबाद में? कहाँ रहते हूँ मैं हैदराबाद में? You heard about the Hussain Sagar? I stay nearby the Hussain Sagar in Jalwai Towers, Hyderabad, near to Hussain Sagar Lake, Jalwai Towers. So let me know how many of you are interested. I will plan for the offline classes here also. We'll discuss with Ashokji if many people are interested. Favorite place Hyderabad. पार्क में बिठा देना. सर बता दो आज क्या बता दूं? What should I tell? So NRE account, NRO account, and FCNR account is explained. So the entire diagram is already explained here: balance of payment, current account, and capital account. Your course includes all the study material of ESI and FM and all the current portion, including government schemes. Kindly explain few seconds for the course. Ankita, better you can contact to the given number, right? And have a contact with Ashok ji. He is going to explain each and everything, whatever your doubts do you have. And if you want to connect with me, I will be available in the conference call. If you have any question with me, I will explain. Or regarding the complete course, what we are offering in the entire course, that will be better explained by when you will contact to the inquiry number. Yeah, I just told na ki I live in Jalwaya Towers, हैदराबाद नियर लोअर टैंक बंड. अब एड्रेस तो नहीं दूंगा, but that is sufficient, I think. So, okay, fine. Let's come back to the topic. So, balance of payment. Okay, balance of payment, current account, capital account. We have started with the current account. We have explained about the balance of trade. Then, invisible account. Here we see the inflow and outflow of the foreign currency in terms of overall trade and commerce, right? Whereas the capital account shows that how much ownership is being changed, right? How much ownership is being changed. Now we have to see overall flow in the balance of payment account. We have to check overall flow in the balance of payment account. So finally we have to see there is a current account and there is a capital account. So this current account, either it is going to have surplus or deficit or balanced. Similarly, the capital account is maybe also be having going to be surplus or deficit or balanced, right? Balance. So balance means all inflows, means the change in the ownership in your country is equal to the change in the ownership by Indians outside the India. Current account means, current account is balance means whatever the trade and commerce we did with outside the country, in nutshell the entire inflow through trade and commerce and entire outflow through the trade and commerce are equal, right? So it is an ideal situation when balance of payment is in balance. Is it in balance because both are balanced? Listen my statement again. I told you it is an ideal kind of situation when your balance of payment account is balanced because both accounts are equally balanced. That means generally these accounts are not in balance on its own. There may be a surplus in the current account, and if there is a surplus in the current account, it is going to be balanced by this surplus will be balanced through deficit here, right? And if there is a deficit, if there is a deficit here, then this deficit is going to be balanced by surplus here, right? So the surplus in the current account is going to be counterbalanced by deficit in the capital account, whereas the deficit in the current account is going to be balanced by surplus in the capital account. Maybe many of you are not able to understand this thing. Maybe some of you got the immediately. Those who are not able to understand, I am going to explain you in the in a length. So don't worry, right? So suppose that India have a surplus in the current account. India have a surplus in the current account. That means through trade, trade in goods and basically invisible account, which is comprised of what? Which is comprised of inflow of remittances, export of services, export and import of services, remittances, and one-way transfers, right? One-way transfers. So suppose that there is a what? There is a surplus. There is a surplus. Suppose that what trade or the export, total export by India, including goods and services, is somewhere around 700 billion. Not exact figure, just for your understanding. Just assume this figure, and total import of goods and services is 600 billion, right? Plus other. What is other? That is remittances and one-way transfers. One-way transfers. So remittances, I told you, for in the foreign country, those Indians who are living, they are sending their money to India. Similarly, those foreigners who are living in India or the people who have their near and dears outside the India, they also send money to them, right? So all these remittances and one-way transfers are somewhere around net. Net means what? Incoming, or better, inbound transfers minus outbound transfers, right? So the net is somewhere around 20 billion. Net is somewhere around 20 billion, right? Positive means the inbound transfers are more than outbound transfers. Inbound transfers are greater than outbound transfers. So net is in positive. Fine. So net is in positive of 20 billion dollar, whereas when you have saw that this thing, so the difference is of 100, difference is of 100 billion, 100 billion dollar. So 100 billion dollar is in your surplus, your trade is in surplus. So what we can do, whatever this earning of 100 billion dollar, we can put in our foreign reserves, right? We can put in the foreign reserves. But even in the foreign reserve, it is not maintained in the hard cash. It is maintained in the form of, for example, we have 100 billion plus, sorry, plus 2 billion also, $2 billion dollar. So total surplus is 102 billion dollar. Now, either we can put in the form of cash and put it in the foreign reserves. So that 102 billion is remain going to be 102 billion even after 10 years, right? So try to think in a very practical manner. So if we have the surplus of 102 billion dollar in our current account in the form of foreign currency, hard currencies means they are means in the hard cash form, they are hard currencies. Oh, sorry, no. This term hard currency, sorry, hard currency and soft currency is used in another term. Hard cash, right? Hard cash means newly issued cash. That is a hard cash, right? But the term hard currency and soft currency is used in different means different purpose. Hard currency means US dollar is a hard currency. Indian rupee is getting some hardness, but still it comes under the category of soft currency because the exchange rates are volatile. Right, exchange rates are volatile. There is a fluctuation, high fluctuations in the exchange rate of Indian rupee in comparison to again in comparison to US dollar. So US dollar is comparatively hard currency in comparison to Indian rupee, right? Hard currency, because US dollar is relatively stable and its exchange value do not changes frequently in the high fluctuation. Yes, there are some changes, but it's not like yesterday US dollar was at 78 rupees, today US dollar is 26 rupees. It's not like that. There will be small changes in the value of US dollar with respect to the Indian rupee. So when the currency is having more stable exchange rate value, then it is known as hard currency. Whereas the currencies which have not stable exchange value with respect to other currencies, they are known as soft currency. So, with the slip of tongue, or means I was not, whatever I want to say, excuse me for that. I have used the term hard currency and soft currency, but we have the surplus of 102 billion dollar in cash, right? So the point is, if we have a surplus and we are going to put in our reserves, tijori mein rakh diya, right? In the safe, we have put that money, then it is going to be remain 102 billion dollar even after whatever time. So it is not a right thing to put in the cash, right? So what we will do, we will have that cash, some amount, and the rest of the amount, what we are going to do, we are going to invest. Invest how? We can purchase some debt securities in other countries, right? In other countries. For example, US government want to issue, like in India, RBI issue government securities, na? RBI issue government securities. From that government securities, government borrow the money. So similarly, US government also borrow the money. US government also borrow the money through the US Federal Reserve. So what we can do, we can invest that money for the purpose of purchasing of US Federal Reserve, or we can put that money in some other developmental institutions. So when new development bank was established by BRICS countries, when they established the new development bank, some capital was provided by India, some capital is provided by China, South Africa, Brazil, and Russia. All these countries have provided their capital, right? So this is another way of doing what? This is another way of doing investments. So generally, the surplus of current account is in general is going to be balanced. How it is going to be balanced? By investing. When you are investing, that means you are buying ownership in other countries. So it is but obvious, whatever the surplus you are going to have in your current account, it will be automatically balanced through what? Capital account. Clear? I hope it is clear regarding surplus. If you have a surplus in the current account. Shashwat, clear. Okay. So the best example how to effectively use surplus. Belt and Road Initiative. So just for your understanding, I'm giving you this example. So China, when Chinese have opened their economy, this is timeline. So x-axis is presenting what? X-axis is presenting time, whereas y-axis is showing deficit and surplus in the current account. So Chinese have huge deficit in 1980s, and they started opening their economy and invited investments in your country, right? Investment in your country. So this for this diagram, we are talking about the capital account, and here current account. So in 1980s, Chinese have huge deficit, right? So in order to fulfill your deficit, Either you can borrow the money through external assistance by issuing depository receipts. They are the such way. Or you can go for what? If you have a deficit here, if you have a deficit here, it can be fulfilled by through foreign investments, external assistance, ECBs, short-term trade credit, rupee debt services, ADR, GDR, and NRI deposits. So China was not opening its economy, because if you will open its economy, that means you are inviting the foreign countries people to come and invest in your country, right? So Chinese has not opened their economy for the foreign investments. However, when Deng Xiaoping grabbed the power in China, he has initiated the reforms by opening their economy, and he started allowing foreign investments in that country. Foreign investment in the country. So, when you will allow the foreign investment in your country, there will be what? There will be a surplus. There will be a surplus in comparison to what? In comparison to current account, there will be a surplus in your capital account, and that surplus is in the current capital account. If you will open your economy, for example, lot of money is coming to India through FDI, right? Lot of money is coming to India through FDI, FPIs. They are sending huge money, they are investing huge money in your country, right? So definitely your capital account is going to be in the surplus. But why you have surplus? Because you want to fulfill your current account deficit. For that purpose, initially you have opened your economy for the purpose of investments. So investments starts coming to the China when Chinese have opened their economy in beginning of 1980s. Fine. So they have, what was the intention? Intention was in order to reduce this current account, right? Reduce this current account. So, to reduce this current account deficit, they have started allowing the investments in the country, and that investments become more fruitful. Why? Because with the help of those investments in your country, Chinese exports start rising. And when your export will start rising, not only export is rising, export started rising, and you are purchasing a lot of raw material to manufacture in your country. So your import also start rising. So import start rising and export also start rising. Please listen very carefully all the terms which I am using here right now. So when you have opened your economy for the foreign investment, lot of foreign investors came to the China, established their factory, right? So money came to your country in terms of investment. And when they will establish their factory in the China, they have to do the production activity. For that production activity, you have to purchase raw material from the different part of the world. So your import will start rising. But when the manufactured product will be sold by China to all over the world, so your export will also rise. Your export will also rise. So what happened? The trade volume start rising, and gradually the pace of export, the pace of rising of the export outperform the pace of or the rate of rise in the import. Initially, their import rises very fast. Initially, so when they have started this reforms, so this was the pace of import and this was the pace of export. But by 1996 onwards, so it was like this, but export was rising in this manner. Right. So your trade volume started rising. Trade volume started rising when you have initiated the reforms. But even after initiating the reforms, initially your current account was in deficit. But with very structured way of reforms and your consumption start rising, your exports start rising, then the total export outperformed what? Outperform their imports. So Chinese was able to achieve, gradually they came into this position. They came into this position, and from 2000 2004 onwards, they are in surplus. They are in surplus. Whereas if you will see the same situation in the capital account, so capital account was in surplus because lot of investments are coming to your country. Lot of investments are coming to your country, so your capital account was showing the surplus, right? But gradually, when you are able to have surplus in your current account, that surplus you have started investing in Belt and Road Initiative. Most of the finance based application in India which are giving short term loan or very short term loan, they are all having the Chinese investment only. The biggest edutech platform in India, they are funded with the help of Chinese and Japanese, right? So right now, more and more funding is being done by Chinese. They are acquiring ports, they are acquiring production unit, they are acquiring lot of things all over the world. So initially, there was a huge inflow of investment in the China, but now there is huge outflow of investment by the Chinese outside the world. So gradually their capital account which was in surplus, it came into the deficit. It came into the deficit. Because deficit, now the inflow of investment in China, the inflow of investment in China is outperformed outperformed by investment by Chinese outside the China, right? So this is showing your strength. This is showing your strength. So my dear, if you have a surplus in the capital account, if you have a surplus in the capital account, it is not showing a good sign for you in the longer term when you are assessing the economy. So we have to reach that position so that we can go for more investments outside. So if you will compare the Chinese and Indians, so Indians are like here, they have started in 1990s, and Indians are hanging around here like this. So sometimes little deficit, sometimes little surplus. So Indians are hanging around here. So still we need what? We need more investments in India so that our capacity can be increased and we can go for lot of investments outside the India. Lot of investment outside the India. Fine. So China did that thing. India is also doing the well. Right. So this is how current account and capital account works. I hope this is clear right now. Dheeraj, I don't like to teach with the PPTs. That is why I do not use the PPT. I explained already, I don't like that PPT. Okay, Abhishek, I will share this PDF. योगेश बिरयानी मिल जाएगी खाने को फिर. Yes, biryani is famous food of India. Right. So you can see that you can see that if you will allow if you will allow listen very carefully, if you will allow foreigners to own the ownership assets in India, it can help you in the longer run to acquire the assets outside the India. And it is also going to allow you to first manage your current account deficit at the time, and later on it can also help you to come in the surplus, right? So, in nutshell, what I want to say, suppose that you are a country, and with this model, I am telling you ki what are the benefits. I am a foreign investor and I want to invest in your country. You can consider yourself as a country right now. I am a foreign investor and I am giving you this presentation of what? I am giving you this presentation ki see how the investments is going to make you from beggar to billionaire. So, right? So, this is what we can understand with the power. But there is a catch. मेरे पास एक स्कीम है, ठीक है. सो दिस साउंड्स लाइक कि मेरे पास एक स्कीम है, ठीक है. 50 दिन में पैसा डबल. सो दिस seems something like that, because if you are not doing this capital account surplus kind of the thing in the proper manner, then it also backfires. Classic example, Sri Lanka. Classic example, Sri Lanka in the recent times. With the same thing in their mind, they borrow the money from Chinese to develop their port, Hambantota port. Hambantota port, they allowed Chinese to develop their Hambantota port, right? And Chinese said that ki, we are going to give you the loan so that you can develop your Hambantota port. So they thought that ki, okay, we can share the ownership by taking the debt from the Chinese. And Chinese know that ki the amount of debt we are going to give you and the amount of trade from the Hambantota port is not feasible, right? Because Hambantota port in Sri Lanka is like here, whereas the Colombo port is here. So the strategic location of Hambantota and Colombo. So Colombo is more convenient for those ships who are coming with traveling long distance from the Western Europe through the Suez Canal and all. Whereas Hambantota port is not a good thing for, because most of the shipments who are coming from the Southeast Asia, like China, Japan, so for them it is not a position where to stay, rather than they go to some port in the Suez Canal kind of the thing after there. So, see, if you have started your journey, right, which is of 600 kilometer, right, so you are not going to take a stop after 150 kilometer or 200 kilometer. You will prefer to take a break somewhere around 300 kilometer or 400 kilometer, then you will resume your rest of the journey. So those ships who are coming, those ships who are coming from where? Those ships who are coming from the Southeast Asia, for them Hambantota port is like 200 kilometers. So they don't want to stay here. Whereas those ships who are coming from where? Those ships who are coming from the West and America, they prefer to stay here, because from, if you have to cover 600 kilometer, so where you going to take a stop? At 400 kilometer or 520 kilometer? When you will reach at 520 kilometer, rest of the thing, this journey is what, 80 kilometer. So you are not going to take a stop here. You will prefer to take a stop here, right? So this is why the Hambantota port long term it's not feasible. Many times Indians have always conveyed this thing, because Sri Lanka has proposed this thing, first development of Hambantota port, to Indians. But Indians have refused. We don't want to invest money here. But Sri Lankans went to the Chinese, and Chinese happily said that okay, we will do that thing. And they have given the loan to Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka has accepted those loans. And in after 10 years, Sri Lanka said that we are not able to repay your loans. Tell me the alternative. So Chinese said that the alternative is you can give your port lease of 50 years to us. So they acquire this port on the lease. Similarly, they are going to acquire the Gwadar port. So similarly, Chinese have acquired a lot of port around the world. So you must be very careful when you are allowing what? Foreign investments or foreign ownership of your assets in your country. Right. So when you will allow, you must have to allow carefully. And in the BOP terms, in the terms of BOP, what I have explained till then now, that is known as convertibility. So suppose you are freely allowing any foreigners can come to your country, purchase the shares, invest in India. You are freely allowing, no terms and conditions, no stringent terms and conditions. Then we can say that our capital account is fully convertible. Fully convertible. When we use this term here in the current account, means you can convert Indian rupee in any currency freely without any restrictions. Then we can say that our current account is, better not to write here because some people are requesting me to share this annotation. So I will share this annotation. So rather than writing here, first tell me, you understood this concept of, I hope you understood the concept of what? Convertibility. So capital account, current account, convertibility. So what current account convertibility means? Current account convertibility if it is 100% current account convertibility, then Indian rupee can be exchanged with any currency without any restrictions, which means our current account is fully convertible. So at present, India allows free convertible, means full convertible. Indian rupees full convertible. You can exchange our rupee with any currency without any restrictions in the international market. Right. But before 1991, it was not there. Certain restrictions are being put forward by the RBI. Right. Even today, there are certain restrictions, but they are restrictions which is with respect to national securities, few things like that. Otherwise, for the business and commerce purpose, it is fully convertible. However, with this explanation of debt trap, and you are going to be in the problem. So for that, capital account convertibility is not 100% at yet in India. Though most of the Western countries, they push India for more capital account convertibility. But I have just shown you how this issue is very sensitive. And I told you that Indian people are more conservative. They are not kind of the people to whom you can convince easily, right? With the kind of मेरे पास एक scheme है, right? You cannot make them very trust. Fine. So India has opted the gradual approach to convert their capital account towards full convertibility. If you will compare from 1980s to 1990, almost no convertibility was there. No convertibility in capital account. When we have initiated the reforms, we have allowed FDI in certain sectors. 24% model and 26% model, or even 10% model kind of the thing. Gradually we have started 49%, 51%, 74%, 76%, and now 100%. So right now most of the sectors in India, they come under this category. From 1990 to 2000, most of the sectors come under this category. Right, most of the sectors, not all, most of the sectors. Before 1991, only few sectors are having such kind of the convertible, means allowed for the foreign investment. But when India is going to allow any kind of foreign collaboration, any kind of the foreign collaboration or foreign ownership in India, 100% is being allowed, then we can say that our account is also fully convertible. Yes, it was Tarapur committee in 1996. They have recommended for this full convertibility of current account. I'll means you can find in the any notes. It's not big deal. Tarapur committee, but fully convertibility is an issue, right? We do not want to go in one shot manner. We want to go in the gradual manner. So India is heading towards a full convertibility of capital account. RBI, Government of India, has taken many steps in the recent times to go for full capital account convertibility. After this class I will check. I think I have one or two articles related to the full convertibility of capital account. I will share with you on the Telegram group, right? So you can read that article. But first tell me, have you got the understanding of what is the convertibility, what is the current account deficit, CAD, and how it is dangerous? How it is dangerous. Current account deficit is dangerous because current account deficit is going to tempt you to go for surplus in your capital account by inviting the investments in your country. And if you did in the smart way, maybe you can be the leading example for all developing world like India and China model, right? So India and China, they are the one of the poster boy of this full convertibility of capital account opening your economy, right? But if you are tempted too much and you have taken the wrong steps, then it is going to backfire you. See the Pakistanis, they said that ki, okay, China Pakistan economic corridor, and China has proposed to invest $50 billion, even $100 billion, sorry. China proposed that they will invest $100 billion, right? That means what? This is Jammu and Kashmir. So from here, the Pakistan, right? So from Gwadar, this is the Gwadar port, and from Gwadar they will develop rail road, rail and road, right? Rail and road link to China's Xinjiang province. What is an objective of China in long term? Right now, most of the Chinese export and imports. Right now, most of the Chinese exports and imports, they are moving from here. This is Singapore. This strait is known as Malacca Strait. So most of your import and export is moving from here. The Chinese trade and commerce around 80%. 80% of Chinese trade and commerce is moving through this corridor. From here, this is what I told you, this is the Pakistan. Right. So you are forced to move your entire export and import from here. Right, 80%. Here India have Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Thanjavur have the Air Force base, and Indian Navy is very active in this entire region. Especially in this region, Indian Navy is hyperactive. So Indian Navy have a capacity to block entire your trade and commerce, right? And that can cripple down your economy in the case of any rising conflict, right? So this is why China always push India towards the border issue. Why? When you will engage India in the border issue, India will be remain focused on Indian army. India is not able to focus and invest in the navy. And if India is going to have a very strong navy, then it is going to be very difficult for China with long term vision, right? So Chinese are trying to engage India through the border skirmish so that they can remain engaged Indian policymakers to make their army more strengthened in comparison to allocating the money for development of or making powerful your navy. One way. Another way, even if India because also rising, so whatever the kind of skirmish or whatever the policy you are doing, Indians are also aware of that policy, so they are definitely going to invest more money on their navy. That means sooner or later it is going to be very difficult for Chinese to be here, right? Especially in the case of conflict with the India, or you are on the mercy of Indian Navy if you want to do the business properly. So that is why alternatively, if we will develop this port, so whatever the import and export we are doing through the sea route from China here to here, we can bypass through this. So entire trade and commerce will start from this area through rail and road link, and it will reach here. And once it will be reach here, you can do the shipments, so you can bypass entire path. So this is why they want to invest in China Pakistan corridor, and they know that ki Pakistani economy do not have the ability to repay this money. So sooner or later, the ownership of this port, ownership of this railway link, ownership of this entire road or corridor is going to be the Chinese only. So this is the objective. इतनी सी बात इन पाकिस्तानी गधों को समझ में नहीं आती है. They feel that ki this is coming, the big investment, our economy is going to revive. You are almost on default. You have given the Gwadar port right for next 50 years. Already you have given the Gwadar port. 50 years or 99 years ka matlab kya? What do you understand 99 years? That means ownership is not yours, that is of Chinese. And Chinese have deployed their own soldiers in the protection of this port, and they are slowly deploying their forces to protect this what? Entire corridor. So this is why it's very important. You should be what? You should be Atmanirbhar, right? Atmanirbhar is doesn't mean that you are producing everything. Atmanirbhar means in the today's world what Atmanirbhar means. Atmanirbhar means self-sufficient. It doesn't mean that you are producing each and everything. Atmanirbhar in today's world means that most of the thing are being produced in your country directly by you or with the help of foreigners. So this is what exactly means that meaning of Atmanirbhar. You are able to fulfill your requirement on your own without any dependency on others. Maybe that production is happening in your country with the help of foreign companies. That is not an issue. The issue is it must be produced in India. थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आया, कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हुए हैं. Understood the importance of this capital account, current account, transactions, different terminologies they are being used in this entire thing. There is a very bad position in Pakistan right now, and actually, this bad position in the neighboring country is not good for India because radicalization is increasing in that country, plus instability. Whenever there is an instability, right? Just understand, if there is an instability in Pakistan, everybody know that ki Pakistan is being controlled by their armed forces, right? Especially the army. So ultimately, who is going to be blamed? Government and armed forces. So in order to divert their attention, maybe some kind of the nonsense thing they will do the India, right? So or even they are not doing anything nonsense, because right now the government has created a sentiment. The government has created a sentiment, and government has created a kind of policy. Government has taken a policy stand. Earlier, government has policy stand to do not escalate, right? Do not escalate. Now the government of India have the policy of escalate. What do you think? What actions we have taken in the Balakot or the surgical strike we have did in the past? In future, if there will be any other party government, they are bound to take that actions. Otherwise, they will be under huge political pressure. So this is why the surgical strike was very important in the long term notion, because you did one time. If you are not going to do this next time, people will blame you and people will not trust you. So there was a policy shifting at national level. So with such kind of a policy, right, there is a possibility maybe it can go for full fledged war also. And they are nuclear armed, right? They are nuclear armed. So this is why there is a concern in India also. So Pakistan should be relatively stable. And if our neighboring countries are going to be what flourish, see the growth of Europe and America, they are very closely interconnected in terms of trade and commerce. Maybe there is an Atlantic Ocean, but with the help of a communication and transportation, swift communication and transportation, they developed side by side. So similarly, in the longer run, if we want to develop and prosperous, whatever the unnecessary money we are spending or they are spending on arms and other things, if we are going to spend that money on social and human resources, definitely it is going to be good for all of us, right? So it is ultimate goal. It is an ultimate goal, but till then ultimate goal is not being achieved because of those morons. We must have to focus on our socioeconomic security as well. And your economy is going to play a very important role, and your in economy, this balance of payment is also going to play a very important role, right? I hope things are clear now, because we have to move on other topic. Entire bop balance of payment is focused on what? Foreign currency. So it is a matter of huge importance how Indian rupee can be converted into the foreign currency, and how foreign currency can be converted into the Indian rupee. So we must understand the exchange rate, how this exchange rate work, because exchange rate is playing very important and crucial role for the balance of payment account, right? So now, after having the understanding of the balance of payment, we are going to understand this exchange rate regime. Just few moments back, I have received a message from a student on Telegram, and she want to know about the nominal exchange rate, PPT exchange rate difference, each and everything. So I will explain in the next class when I will start exchange rate system. I will explain PPP model, nominal exchange rate, and real exchange rate, currency swap, forward swap, every kind of things related to the exchange rate I'm going to explain in the next class. But in this class I have finished most of the things related to BOP. Oh dear, it's 10 right now. So I think I have missed today's descriptive session. Okay. Okay, no issues. I'll give the descriptive session tomorrow. Right. And even before going for what? Okay. First, I will complete this foreign exchange. It's not going to take too much time. In 1.5 hour, it is going to complete it. And if possible, it is going to be completed in 1 hour. Then I will discuss two questions, or definitely I will discuss one question. And please do remind me, because I get lost in this teaching, and I forgot ki I have to take the descriptive session. I have not looked over the time. What is the time right now? Okay, so please remind me around 9:30 every day. Please remind me ki I have to take the descriptive part. Otherwise, I will be lost in that. So, acha, any of the student who is not watching the current lecture, I'll request go with the current lectures also. The later part, you can do it later, but these are the basic things I'm discussing right now. And even after that, I'm going to the financial market. Right after completing all these things, I will move toward the financial market, and it's a big part. And nothing like some basic understanding is required. So don't worry about that. Follow the live lectures. Okay, Ji. So time to wind up today's session. Tomorrow's session, I will start with the foreign currency exchange market, right? Foreign exchange, how it works, what are the instrument is being used in the foreign exchange market, each and everything I will explain, and I will take the descriptive part also. Okay, Vishwas. Okay then, so I'm winding up today's session. We will start tomorrow with the foreign exchange at 8 p.m. Thank you very much for today.